Now I'm live. Here we go. How's it going, everybody? This is Jose Trujillo. I am the world's greatest living artist. That's what I call myself anyways, because it's what I need to call myself. Okay? I want to talk to you guys right now about how I made $525 in one day selling my artwork, my paintings to be exact, on Craigslist. I've been an artist for quite some time now. I've been an artist for over 20 years now. And this whole idea of selling artwork just kind of haunted me, right? It was a thing that I wanted to do. I loved painting. I've been a painter for over 20 years. It's been part of my life. It's been something that, since I was a kid, it's what I picked up. And it's just, it's such an important part of my life that I don't even know where I could start describing the importance of it, because it's the thing that you know that you have to do if you're an artist. It's not maybe I'll do that, maybe not, or maybe I'll get into it and see if I can make a buck. It wasn't that for me. It's still not that, and I hope it will never be that. It is art. It is who I am. I am an artist. This is the role that I play in this life. And when I started, I was passionate about just learning how to create art and creating it and just showing it, showing the artwork, being proud of it. And hopefully someone out there would have been happy by looking at it or have some sort of emotion, right? Hopefully a positive one with my artwork. And that was my idea of being an artist. As years went by, I started noticing that I had there was not enough for me to continue doing it more often. There was not enough time. There was not enough of something. There was not enough. See, you soon start realizing, this is what happened to me, okay? I can tell my story. I soon start realizing that in order to create artwork, I needed to spend time on it and spend materials on it. I started realizing that, and that created a weight on my back. And since I was a teenager, started creating weight on my back. I need to create artwork. I need to start doing that. I need to be more serious about it because I love doing this. But I found myself not being able to know how to get the work out there, how to get it in front of people, how to get other people to see it. So I did everything under the sun. I went from the occasional gallery show to the street art fair to showing it in local venues in my town, cafes, little restaurants, even doctor offices, hotel lobbies, and on and on and on. It was all very much an occasional thing. It was a bit of an event. It wasn't something that I did often. But nevertheless, it was what I thought needed to be done. I was looking around and seeing what everybody else was doing, and I was like, oh, how can I do that? Although I thought of myself as being smarter than the crowd, and I often took steps further than what my peers were doing to showing my work, right? To showing my work to someone, I knew that I had to do more. I knew that I had to do more than what they were doing. I knew that I had to think outside the box than what most people were thinking, but I didn't have it quite figured out yet. And the reason I feel like I wanted to do this is because it started waiting on me. Man, I want to paint more, but I don't have enough time. Man, I want to paint more, but I don't have enough money, right? The money has to come from somewhere else. The money has to come from my daytime job. So that's where I need to spend my time. The money comes from, eventually, hopefully will come from school. So I have to go to college and I have to, I have all this, I was screwed up in the head. I have all these ideas. Not that there's anything bad with that, but I didn't know really where to put my attention. And I didn't know how much attention I needed to put on in order to make it work. Okay? As the saying goes, where attention goes, energy flows. It's attention. It's attention, right? You need to put attention on something, and I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to put attention on my artwork other than learning how to paint, other than learning how to draw, other than learning my skill, right? My skill set. And I didn't know how to had to put attention on getting attention, on showing people what I was doing. So by saying this, I want to share with you how I got started, right? How I got started selling my artwork. Now I'm a full-time artist, it's been over 6.5 years. I made a full-time living as an artist. And my first year, I did great. My second year, I did better. And it's just been better and better ever since. Now I'm running a multiple six-figure a year business, running my art studio, and I'm growing. And I know that I can take it to the next phase. It didn't start there. Of course, nothing starts there. It started out by selling on Craigslist. That's how I got started. Before that, I got started on the galleries and whatnot, what I told you. But when I was like, dude, I'm going to roll up my sleeves and I need to do something about it, I went straight to the vein. Where are people hanging out? I thought, So I was a salesman already, right? My daytime job was sales. I was doing sales. I was doing door to door, trying to introduce a new product to a market. So I understood the difficulties that come from taking a new product into the marketplace. How often you have to be there and how much you have to do. I understood some of it in order to get a paycheck and some commission, but not enough in order to succeed in it. I was not successful at it by any means. Although I was doing better than my co-workers, and I was never let go. This was during the housing bubble, right? What is called the Great Recession. Some people call it the Great Recession. About 10 years ago or so. I was selling lacquer. I was selling coatings, right? Lacquer coatings for wood floors and furniture. And in one of my visits, I met a furniture, one of my clients, right? A furniture maker. And I was trying to sell my lacquer. I was trying to sell it was all nice, like water bays and very low toxicity and on and on and on. And in this visit, the idea of Craigslist came out. And he shared with me that he was selling his furniture in Craigslist. And I was like, Craigslist? I was like, oh man, that looks like a place where you go for questionable dates and, odd stuff to sell. Like, I never thought about Craigslist selling furniture. He's like, oh yeah, like people sell cars and blah, blah. I was like, oh, okay, cool, yeah. And so he talked to me a little bit about it. He had a couple of people listing stuff, and it was, he was doing great. He was selling his furniture there. Anyway, some time went by, and my boss at the time was like, dude, we got to close the shop now because, we're not making any sales. First, before that, they let go 70% of the staff. And I was not initially in sales, but I got so good at it compared to the rest, right? The rest were not selling anything. I was horrible at it looking back, but I was better than them. I was doing at least more than them. So my boss let go of the whole staff, the sales staff, 70%, and then he put me in charge of sales. And because I was bringing at least some revenue into the company. And when this happened, he told me, you know what, we can't sustain anymore. I wasn't creating enough revenue to keep the company going by myself. And at that point, I was the only last salesperson standing, and I was just not, I didn't have the knowledge or the understanding, the power to bring more revenue. I had no idea. I could, looking back, but I had no idea how to do it. And I thought I was overworked. Go figure, right? 8 to 5. People always think they're overworked. Try working for yourself. Try that one. See what it feels like. But anyways, the sales force was let go, and I was like standing there alone. And then he's like, dude, we got to close the business now. This ain't going to work. So you got a few months to start looking for something else. He told me it was like 2 months only. But he's like, it wasn't his fault. It was my fault. I couldn't bring more revenue. So I was like, man, what do I do? And he's like, you know what? We need to sell all the furniture stuff. We need to sell all the office furniture. It was a big warehouse. and we have multiple offices. And he's like, we need to sell all of this stuff and get rid of it. Get rid of it. You know, you have to help me get rid of it because you know, the company was closing. So I was like, gotcha, I'm on it. So to make the story short, because I do explain it somewhere else, I'll let you know in a bit. To make the story short, I was like, all right, let's do this. So I went and I was like, I got to make a sale. A huge, we are going out of business sale, right? What a lot of businesses, sadly, I feel bad for all those businesses that today still do that. But also I saw it a lot in the what's called the Great Recession, right? The housing boom and collapse. And I was like, okay, well, I got to go get a banner and put, you know, we're making a going out of business sale. Well, I remember I used to sell lacquer. It wasn't like I was at a storefront or anything. It was like a giant warehouse with offices in there, and I was pretty much the last person. It was me and another coworker, and but I was the only salesperson. And I was like, oh man, what do I do? So I'm gonna put a banner and put, you know, huge going out of business sale, you know, get your furniture and computers and whatnot at killer prices. I was like, who's gonna come here? It was a secluded area. It was like a you know, lonely place out in the middle of nowhere where warehouses are, right? They're not retail storefronts. So I was like, no one's gonna come here. What can I do? You know, should I call all the clients that have purchased from us? Do you think, you know, I started thinking about everything, right? Because when the water is hitting, you start thinking about everything. When the water's rising, you go into sink or swim mode. And I was like, what do I do in order to bring some revenue for the company so that I can elongate the process before they fire my ass, right? That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to elongate the process. I was trying to bring more revenue faster so that we could at least get another extra month happening so that I could go find another job, right? To make the jump. I was like, how do I bring revenue to my boss and sell all of this stuff? And I was like, got it. I thought about it, this conversation that I had with one of my clients who said he was selling his stuff on Craigslist. I know at the time it was like common sense and whatnot, but normally you don't think about that because you're thinking about Craigslist slashing and giving stuff away, slashing prices and giving stuff away. And that is true. It is very true. That is how it works, but you have to know how to do it. I didn't know how to do it. So we had a lot of furniture to sell, a lot of stuff, not just furniture, tools and you know, anything from fans to computers to office desks, chairs and whatnot, right? All of that stuff, a big warehouse. And so I was like, I'm gonna clean this stuff up. I'm gonna take photos of it and I'm gonna post it on Craigslist. The first week I did miserable. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. After the second week, I started selling something. I was like, oh, okay. I elongated the process by like 2 months. I think it was 2 or 3 months. I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, I was already a master at selling on Craigslist. I had gotten the hang of it. I had understood how to take the pictures. I had understood what people wanted. I had understood how, I mean, I got so good at it because I had so much inventory that I did not invest in, right? So I wasn't like in a place where I was afraid of losing. Very important, okay? I was not afraid of losing because it wasn't mine. I was just trying to get rid of it. This gave me a boost of confidence. Not being afraid of losing gives you a boost of confidence, okay? It's like walking, sleepwalking, right? You're not afraid of what's happening around because you're not aware. So I wasn't afraid of losing. And I'm gonna try to make it shorter, right? Story. I went and I just got good at it. And one day I was like, man, I can do this. I can definitely do this, right? I can do this. How can I? I told myself, man, I can sell anything on Craigslist. That's what I told myself. I remember. I'd made thousands of dollars by then, right? I was like, man, I can sell anything on Craigslist. I thought I was like this badass salesperson, right? Because the stuff wasn't mine. What I was selling wasn't mine. So I was like, oh. And then I started selling some of my stuff. That was like office stuff and whatnot. Just throw it in there, right? Stuff that I didn't need anymore. And so I had this feeling, man, I know what I'm doing here. Like it makes so much sense, right? After you start doing something in volume, in quantity, you start figuring shit out, right? So I started figuring stuff out. And then I went home one day and I was like, man, I can do anything. I can sell anything on Craigslist. And then I thought about it, right? And I saw my dusty paintings in a corner. I had over 60 paintings there. I've been painting for over 20 years. I had at least 60 just piled up in a corner. Probably had more in the back. I did have more, but I don't remember exactly how many. So I was like, man, could I sell artwork there? And I thought to myself, yeah, of course I can. Like, and I was like, but would artwork work? And I was like, how is it any different than office furniture? It's the same thing. People are buyers there. They're buying it. I had proven to sell a couple of $1,000s, not a couple, more than a couple of $1,000s on Craigslist. I had proven to sell stuff. I had knowledge that people bought. I understood that people bought, right? This was about almost 7 years ago. I understood that people bought. And so I did. I went and I did. I applied everything that I learned. Man, I was so good at it that in one day I made $525 in a single day selling some of my paintings, some of my paintings, just some of my paintings. And they weren't, different size paintings, some little ones, some larger ones, but they were collecting dust. The point is that they were collecting dust. The point is that I had no idea how to sell artwork, and I was afraid of selling artwork because I thought, like the rest of the artists in my groups, in order to sell artwork, you have to sell it in a gallery and you have to sell it for thousands of dollars. And I thought to myself, awesome, but when am I going to do that? I had no idea how to do that. So I implemented everything that I learned from sales before. Now, remember, guys, I'm not trying to BS you. I had already understood sales. Like, I had gotten sales training. I understood, the process of sales mediocrely, but I had, right? And then I had a lot of experience in selling in Craigslist in less than 3 months because I sold a lot of stuff. I understood what worked, what didn't work. I understood where, when, and how often to do something and what kind of results I was going to get, and on and on and on. Anyways, I figured the whole Craigslist thing out. This was about almost 7 years ago. I figured the whole Craigslist thing out. I made it work. And I in one day I made $525 just selling my artwork. Simple as that, Then I thought, man, could I repeat this? And that was where the trick, right, came in. I learned some more stuff and I learned how to repeat it. And I figured it out. Then after that, I was just like, whoa, man, could this work? And I went on to bigger things. And now I'm making multiple six figures selling artwork. But I started in Craigslist. That's where I started. Now, the reason I'm telling you this, okay, is because selling artwork is simple, guys. But if you're missing certain information, it may be a little bit difficult. It's certain info. It's experiential information, actually. You have to be in front of it. You have to get your hands dirty to start getting stuff, to start figuring it out. So I put together, I had promised this to artists almost, I think a year ago. And I have told artists to do this. Some artists listen. This was years ago. I told artists, look, this is how it started. I still have artists that I know that still don't do it because they're afraid of losing their artwork. And I totally understand losing their artwork for so cheap. But at the same time, they're not selling at quantities, at prices enough and quantities enough in other venues, including art galleries and art shows and whatnot. And so it's like they're not selling high end and they're not selling low end and they're not selling at all. So, but they want to sell. Now, this is not for artists who are like, dude, F that. I'm an artist. I'm not going to settle for that. I'm going to go to the gallery way, and the gallery way is the only way. Cool. That's your gig. Awesome. That wasn't for me. Art is not a hobby for me. Art is something that I had to continue to do. And as many of you artists know, it is flipping expensive to continue creating artwork, especially if you do larger pieces, especially if you use, stuff like stuff that I use, like oil paints and walnut oil, which is insanely expensive as a medium, brushes and all of that thing, right? And you start shipping artwork, you start photographing artwork, and you start doing certain things that had to do with the expenses. Nowadays, I spend a few $1,000s a month just on materials, and I never knew how I was going to get here. I had no idea. I just knew that I was going to do it. Right now, I'm growing my studio. I'm hiring more people, and I'm moving to a large warehouse. I currently work in it's about 1,700 square feet, almost, maybe stretching at 2,000. I'm moving to a 3,000 plus square feet warehouse. Hopefully I'll land it tomorrow, and we'll see. But anyways, the reason I'm telling you this is because I'm in a different place, but that's where I started. And if you are an artist who's like getting started and it's like, man, I want to know how this cat's doing it, fear no more. I promised this to artists like a year ago. I don't make my living doing that, guys. I make my living selling artwork. I don't make my living coaching. I coach every now and then. People want me to coach them. People want me to talk to them about it. People want me to... I was doing this stuff for free all the time. Like, I met people and I was like, oh my God, let me tell you, this is how you can... every time I met artists, I have big mouth. If you want to know how much of a big mouth I have, go to YouTube. I have over 1,000 videos where I explain step by step on like how I run a business, an art business, and how you monetize. I have a big mouth. But I decided, because I kept doing this thing for free, right? To a point where my wife was like, dude, stop teaching them, like get back to work, because I would spend hours with people trying to show them and trying to get them to do what I was doing, because I was excited. I was happy. I was grateful. I think that's the word. I was grateful that I was doing so well. My first year, I made over 6 figures. Over $100,000 just in the first year. I was excited that I had made more than $10,000 a month selling my artwork. I was excited. I was happy. I was trying to show everyone under the sun how to do it. I didn't believe in the whole, man, I can't teach people. I'm not going to show them. They have to figure it out themselves. I wasn't like that. Although I was a bit skeptic in the beginning of telling certain people, just because I knew that certain people, certain artists didn't respect me. Like they didn't think I was a real artist. I was like, if I tell them that I'm doing this, they're going to think even less of me. So I went through that as well. Anyways, if you want to learn how I put this stuff together, okay, I want to show off this to you. It's not out for sale yet. I will sell it because I don't want to give it away. I give a lot of stuff away, but I know that if I give this away, people are not going to respect it. And this may not be for you, but I'm going to charge for it just because I want people to respect it, because it was difficult. It was simple, right? It was simple. It wasn't complicated, but it was hard. And like everything else that works in life, it's simple and it requires work. So I put together this. Sure as hell did. I promised artists that I was going to do it. A lot of artists want to know about it, especially if you're starting out and you don't know what to do. This is how I made $525 in one day selling my paintings on Craigslist. Yes, you heard me right. Bam! Selling my paintings on Craigslist. I put together this artist guide because I know a lot of artists want to learn how to sell their paintings. I know a lot of artists out there were in the position where I am, where my little butt was. The water was hitting right here, and I had to either kick or swim or sink, right? Or die. And I don't mean this, I mean this figuratively, of course. Nothing is that serious in life, guys. Come on. But it felt serious to me. It was like, dude, learn how to sell your shit or stop painting as stop looking at it as wanting to create income. Like, look at it as a hobby and be done with it, Be a big boy about it and leave it alone. It's a flipping hobby. It's something you do when you feel stressed or when you feel happy, and it's something you do on the weekends. And hopefully you get some a little exhibit here and there, and that's awesome. That's what I was doing anyways. I had already been doing that for over 15 years, you know. So by the time that I got to this, to actually start selling the work, I was like, oh, this is not what I'm doing today. Okay, I just want to express that. Now, I do it from time to time, just because I know that the strategy still works. I wanted to prove it. I wanted to continue proving that the strategy still works, because it's evergreen, guys. Like, something works, it's not gonna stop working just because, no, we have Facebook. Dude, because we have Facebook, it's gonna work even better. Because we have Instagram, it's gonna work even better, right? So the strategy, the technique is the same, and you can add fuel. And I added some extra notes how to add fuel with using Facebook, with different stuff that we can do now that I didn't have available. I was doing this shit when there was MySpace, and I wasn't on MySpace. So I think there was Facebook already, but I was a late I don't know, how do you call it? Great motivation, nice haircut. Thank you. Look, muy guapo. I'm looking good, huh? I'm going to a wedding tonight, so I thought, man, I gotta look sexy. I gotta look sexy. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Thames. So yeah, guys, look, check it out. How I made 525 bones, okay, dollars, in one day, not in 1 week, not in 1 year, not in 1 month, as I used to do it in one year. I used to do this, right? Why? Because I would sell one painting at $1,000 in a gallery, but I only had one exhibit, and they kept 50%, so they gave me back $500, right? So I figured out how to do $525 in 1 day when I first started selling my artwork. So the reason I'm showing you this, guys, is because I'm excited that I wrote it down. I sat down and I was like, man, you know, there's artists out there that I told about a year ago that I was going to do this. And I was going to share this with them. I wasn't going to give it away for free. Remember what I told you. But I was going to share it. This is sharing it. It's either way. And again, the whole thing of not giving it away for free, guys, is because I don't live from this. This is not where my income comes from. Okay? This is not my jam. This is me doing my due diligence. This is not where shit comes from. My money comes from selling artwork. I paint and I sell artwork. I create commissions. I work with interior designers. I work with a handful of interior designers. I work with more than a handful. I work with galleries. I work with art dealers around the world. I work with auctions. I work with different places, and that's how I create my revenue. Okay, I'm a painter. That's how I do it. This is not where I get my revenue. I'm not trying to like I don't know. I'm not trying to mess anyone up, you know, with a few bucks. I'm not gonna. It's not gonna create a dent in my income. I promise you that. It's not gonna add fuel to my income. I want to charge for it, and I know I keep saying this because I want the people that actually want it. I want them to be serious people. I don't want to receive an email of some, I don't know, bitch-ass artist that's like, man, this doesn't work. It's because you didn't work. I know that. If it doesn't work, it's because you didn't work at it. I already know that. I know because I've been there. When stuff didn't work for me, it's because I didn't work. It was simple as that. I don't mean to offend anyone with this. All I'm saying is, look, if it ain't going to work, it ain't going to work. You know, if it ain't going to work, it ain't going to work. But if you are ready to be like, dude, I want to learn something. It might not work for you how it worked for me. You might make 3 times this, you know? You might make, I don't know, a little less than that. I don't know. Try it. Would it be worth it? Would it be worth it to make, I don't know, $300 instead of 500, 200, 100? Would it be worth it? It might be worth it. I don't know, you know? It was worth it to me. I wish I would have had this, but I had to figure it out myself. No one taught me this. I didn't go and oh, please teach me this. I didn't read this anywhere. Okay, this is a compilation of years of experience trying to push and sell my artwork, and then I put it together, and I was like, oh, you know, like it all just kind of melted together in that one time. The story I just told you, I saw this person, this furniture, this business owner selling furniture on Craigslist. I saw this, and I saw that it was part of his business. It wasn't, some. So I went and I sold my boss's furniture there when we were closing our business, his business, the company I worked for. And then I was like, oh shit, man, this works. But I had to learn how to do it, right? Now, you don't have to learn how to do it. I explained to you step by step here. It's short. It's not a big ass book. I'm not here to like tell you my life story. This is actionable stuff. This is stuff that you're like going to read through it and you're like, oh man, all right. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Awesome. This is how he did it. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because, look, this is how I did it. Okay? This is how I made $525 in one day. This is how I did it. You may tweak something. I don't know. Change something, I wouldn't recommend unless you're adding to it, not taking away. If you're taking away, you may not want to do the work. Like, instead of taking away stuff from here, add to it. And you may see different results. I'm sure that you will. What I want to make clear too is, look guys, if you are a serious artist who's kind of tired, who is in a place where I was when I figured this thing out, you're not alone. I get it. Like, my wife was giving me faces, She loves me tremendous. Like, I have like the best flipping wife in the world. She loves me. She's on board with me. She's like my ride or die. But there are those moments, guys. There are those moments when your partner looks at you and it's like, dude, come on, stop fucking around. Like, is it a hobby or are you gonna make income from it? But if it's a hobby, treat it as a hobby. Keep it as a hobby. Keep it there. But I think part of the reason why I dragged it so long was because I have a super supportive wife. I have a super supportive partner. If I hadn't had a super supportive partner, I would have figured this thing out probably faster. I know it sounds weird, right? Because you're like, dude, if your partner is super supportive, what do you mean? Yes, because my partner was super supportive with me. Unfortunately, I feel bad. I feel a little guilt. I dragged it too long, right? I dragged it too long because I was like testing, trying stuff, doodling, finding out, figuring shit out. So my wife was looking at me like, oh, awesome. Okay, well, go for it. Go for it. I'm there with you. And that may be a problem, guys. Okay, that may be a challenge. You have someone super supportive. Be careful that they're super supportive, but they may be, I get it. They may be like, dude, like, I've been super supportive, but it's been 10 years, like, is it a hobby or like, are you going to commit to it? Are you going to make this work or, what is it? So when I started feeling the pressure of, dude, I need to make this work because now I'm feeling guilty, right? There was not enough money coming in. We were closing our shop, right? We had a brick and mortar shop. And I was like, whoa, man. I'll tell you that story later. From here, I jumped onto eBay to bigger things. And then from eBay, I jumped onto different things. And I'm going to share those with you. But this is where I started. And if you're starting out, it's not a bad place to start. I don't know. Now, again, I'm not going to give it away. This is not a freebie. It's not, guys. It's just not. I'm going to put together a prize. I'm going to put together a little package, and I'm going to offer it. And if you're interested, let me know. I'll DM you or DM me, and just be like, dude, I'm interested. Let me see that. Yeah. If you're later watching this on YouTube, okay, because I know a lot of people watch some of my stuff on YouTube. I'll put a link below somewhere around. If you're watching this on Instagram, I'm going to put I'm going to DM you. DM me. Be like, dude, I'm interested. Raise your hand. And I'll have it available. But I'm just excited. I've been making an announcement out of it because it's been a year. I told artists, dude, I'm going to get it done. I'm going to share it with you guys so you guys can start rolling. And then I'll show you other things that I did once but you got to get it rolling, right? There's a lot of people that want to jump into the big stuff. They're like, dude, show me how you made $4,000 in a day. Yeah, but if you haven't done it, it's going to be difficult. Trust me. I know what I'm talking about. It's not going to make sense because there's all these levers you need to be pushing, right? So it's a skill. It's a skill of its own. There's all these levers you need to be pushing in order. Why don't we start out by looking at how I did $525 in one day, as opposed to like, dude, how are you making $1,000 in a day? We'll get to that. Let's start getting the ball rolling, right? Let's start getting let's start flipping income for your artwork. Let's start exchanging, right? Let's start by there, getting comfortable with that, understanding the psychology of the sale. There is a psychology in the sale. And I'll show you guys step by step what I did in order to get people to be like, oh, because it's Craigslist. You wouldn't think. You're like, dude, Craigslist, come on. But it is a marketplace. It's a lower end marketplace, of course, but you'd be surprised. There are so many people looking. See, because Craigslist is about local stuff, guys. Craigslist is about bigger stuff, local stuff. It could be small, but it has to be local, right? It has to be like you're there. And especially if it's bigger, right? In Craigslist, people sell cars, appliances. Just look at the psychology of the marketplace. When I was looking at it, I was like, man, that's like questionable dates on Craigslist, but it's not that. It's not that alone, at least. There's all of this marketplace. There's all of this juice there on Craigslist. And it still works. People still sell from there. It's working. And, I don't know. If you're an artist, this is not for the artist who's like, dude, I spent a month creating my artwork. I'm not going to give it away on Craigslist. No, well, don't spend a month on it. Come on. Like, don't do that, Like, besides, why are you spending a month on a piece of artwork and trying to monetize from it? Unless you have learned how to sell it at really great prices, then I totally get it. But even then, we're spending a month on it. Anyways, to each their own. This is for the artist who's like, dude, I got my skill set. Okay, if you don't got skills creating artwork, guys, like some sort of skills, drawing skills, painting skills, like go get that first because it's gonna be a little bit harder. It's not that it's not doable. You may be able to just make it work. I've seen some people make it work. Man, I've seen some people make work what I'm doing on eBay. It's unbelievable. Like I'm not trying to be a butt about it, but like they can't paint. I know they can't paint. They've never picked up a brush in their life, and someone will make it work. So I know. And some people have gotten into my coaching calls, and they're like, dude, how do you do this? And then I see their artwork like, oh, dude, you can't paint, right? But I don't tell them this, of course, because I'm all supportive and shit. But I tell them what to do, and they're like, they go hard at it, and they start making it work. So I'm like, oh, man, okay, well, I guess beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It always is, right? There's people that hate my stuff, and there's people that love my stuff. There's people that say I can't paint, and there's people that think that I'm like I don't know, the new Monet, like my friend who's a vice president on Sotheby's. He called me the new Monet. Sotheby's art, yeah, man. Yeah. So there's people that are like, dude, you're the new Monet, and there's people that are like, dude, you can't paint, and there's everything in between. So I think work is more important than anything else. But if you have a little bit of skill with it, it'll help things slide better, right? That's what skill is. I think skill is a bit of oil. It'll help it slide better. That's what skills are. So get yourself a little bit of skill, and most 99.9% of artists already have skill. You don't need to go get more skills. By the way, if you've been painting for like 2-3 years, I don't know, 5 years, 10, 20 years, you don't need new skill sets, okay? What you need to know is you need to start actually removing BS so that you can let go of your paintings and start monetizing, if that's what you want to do. If not, respect, I get it. Keep your way of doing things. I totally get it. You don't want to compromise. Don't compromise, by any means. Do not compromise. If that's what you do, that's what you do. I wanted to paint and monetize at the same time. I didn't just want to paint. I wanted to paint and I wanted to do that for a living. I do it for a living now. I'm super thrilled. I'm excited. My gallery is growing. Not my gallery. My art studio is growing. Hopefully I'll be able to put some sort of gallery show in my new studio. Studio warehouse. And you know, I don't know. Do something cool there. Like a little showroom or something. I don't know. So there you guys have it. Okay. How I made $525 in one day selling my paintings on Craigslist. That's it, guys. That's it for today. If you are interested, let me know. Let's start there. You know, I don't know. Let's start there. That's where I started, and it worked out well for me. So I'll leave you guys with that. My name is Jose Trujillo. I am the world's greatest living artist. The gods chose me. All right, guys. Take care. I'll talk to you soon. Carol, awesome. Carol says, I want it. I love that. Thank you so much. All right. See you later, guys. Take care. Adios.